Hello, my name is Maria Ellie Marquez Marin, and today I'll be going over personal security here in Alaska. Our course material this week covered a lot about domestic violence within Alaskan communities, and delving further into statistics and stories is where I grabbed more of the awareness of just how frequent it is here in Alaska versus the lower 48. We'll begin with talking about how elders around Alaska viewed domestic violence, and they actually saw it as a loss of culture and repeat trauma to not only the individuals themselves but to the community. And this is very significant as many people that are living next to each other have been neighbors for years, all of a sudden have charges put against someone they know of spousal abuse. And within a small community like this, everyone would be knowing of each other and recognizing the harm that this will do for the family. The loss of culture was also with men being providers to families in subsistence manners. That was identified in another report as reasons why women would not report men um, hitting them. So it was more of a, do you value food for your children over your own well-being? And out of the 25 elders, all of them agreed that a majority of violence was attributed to alcohol in one form or another. It is also interesting to note that with violence, 60% of American Indians and Natives actually experience it from an acquaintance versus 46% of them from Caucasians. And this just delves further into how frequent it is to Native Americans here in Alaska over other race or ethnicity. Breaking down what violence looks like, it many reports get the basic sexual violence, domestic violence, physical hitting, but now they have actually started to add physical aggression or stalking, emotional manipulation also. Um, so like stalking would fall into, or excuse me, stalking would actually be one of those emotional things that men and women could do upon the other. So 4 in 5 American Indians and Alaska Natives will experience violence in their lifetime, and that's for both men and women. And the reason I wanted to show the numbers here is because not only how large it is across the board, but the reports themselves identify that women are higher in this category than men, although generically 4 in 5 of both women and men will experience these types of violence. But one thing that the reports can never capture is the story behind these numbers. If you look at 1.5 million American Indians and Alaska Native women experience violence in their lifetime, that's very large and extensive. Um, but then you actually look into within a year, how does that number look? And you see they're in the hundred thousands. Then you start realizing just how wide this problem is. And it could be for multiple violence from one person. So the report could count various incidents. It kind of got cut off, but the USA Today had a ranking of Alaska women um, experiencing domestic violence, but then it leading to homicide. Linda Skeeks was married to Thomas Skeek, and they resided in Anchorage. When they started um, showing signs of domestic violence. The family of Linda Skeeks started noticing bruises on her. However, they couldn't really pull the full information out, and they actually never reported it in until she went missing. And there was telephone calls to see where she was, and Thomas Geek did not offer any help towards locating her. After 2 years, they officially ruled her missing status as death and charged Thomas Geek with murder. But a lot of times, women um, in experiencing domestic violence by an interracial partner will never get justice, and that's attributed to the jurisdiction issues that go on within this community. So there was another stand up of having tribal leaderships and organizations actually be able to assist domestic violence victims in this struggle for justice. And in general, they will only be able to go after domestic violence and um, either put punishable fines, jail time, or rehabilitative efforts, but they also do not do other things. So, child crimes, felony, any other items in that area, they will not be able to touch as of now. But it is a small comfort to victims coming forward that something is being done. In the past, victims reporting would have to fall into a gray area with the federal laws, and them actually being the prosecutor, the federal government prosecuting on the victim's behalf. Sometimes they would actually not get the justice owed to not only the victim but the families. And another thing with the numbers situation is that children are also um, viewing or experiencing domestic violence in their homes. However, that number hasn't really been captured in these reports, and I feel like when you look at how domestic violence leads up to homicide, uh, the extensive numbers here in Alaska show just how um, pressing this matter is, not only to natives here, but also to the community as a whole. Thank you very much for your time. And these are my resources.